$1,000 depending upon site requirements. Branched drain systems separate bathroom sink and bath water from toilet water and then pipe it to the garden. They require plumbing alterations and require a permit. Consequently, contractors are frequently called in to help. However, you get your gray water to your garden to be code compliant and safe. It must drain into mulch, gravel, or soil basins. Most gray water gardens have several, where the water can percolate into the soil without ponding or causing runoff, which is a health hazard. Nutrients from bits of skin, dirt, and earth-friendly cleansers, which contain biodegradable compounds, are broken down by soil, microorganisms, and alchemized into plant food. In fact, gray water works well with many edible plants, particularly fruits and vines. It's also safe on produce like tomatoes, beans, and cucumbers that are staked or trellised. However, gray water should never touch the parts of a plant that you eat. So for that reason, it should not be used to water strawberries, root crops like carrots, potatoes, and beets, or leafy greens like lettuce, spinach, and kale. Until fairly recently, it was considered a best practice for property owners to route excess rainwater to French drains and onto storm sewers. But in the process, the rain also carries off car oil, pesticides, fertilizers, garbage, animal feces, all to the ocean. Increasingly, an awareness of how bad this runoff is for both our land and waters is taking hold. 600 gallons of rainwater can be harvested off of a tiny 10 by 10 square foot roof during a 1-inch rainstorm. That means that even in Salinas, California, where an average of about 15 inches of rainfall per year happens, around 9,000 gallons of water can be harvested from every 1,000 square feet of roof. In Carmel Valley and Monterey, which receive about 21 inches, about 12,600 gallons could be collected from that amount of roof. And in cooler, wetter Santa Cruz, with an average of 31 inches, the figure is 18,600 gallons per year. And gutters around the roof direct rainwater to downspouts that flow into collection barrels. Rain barrels and tanks can be made from other containers by fitting them with spigots for accessing the water and screened lids to keep out debris and overflow pipes in case they fill up. For a family with an off-the-grid homestead without a well, 3 10,000-gallon tanks may get it through the year or irrigate a small farm or large garden. A great approach for capturing rainwater right where it falls is by covering the soil with 4 to 8 inches of mulch. This wicks moisture into the soil where plants can use it. An additional way to help your garden area soak up the rain is called earthworks. Directs excess rainwater running down buildings and slopes on your property into dry creek beds, constructed wetlands, bioswales, rain gardens, or to edibles. Both strategies reduce both runoff and the need for irrigation from sprinklers and drip systems. Of course, it's possible to go the most low-tech and inexpensive way, catching rain for your garden simply by putting out buckets during a rainstorm.
There's a big rain. There goes a man rain. In walks a jellyfish. There goes a dogfish.
Both sunfish, that prehistoric-looking fish you see at your local aquarium, and sea turtles seem to hold jellyfish, particularly moon jellyfish, in dangerously high gastronomical regard. Both are willing to risk their lives in pursuit of the mysterious treat. While the sunfish's risk is the sea lions that hunt them for food and sport, the turtle's risk is asphyxiation after mistaking a carelessly discarded plastic bag for a jellyfish. Luckily for turtles and sunfish, moon jellyfish may soon be far more prolific. While data are far from conclusive, scientists predict that as oceans continue to warm and oxygen-depleted dead zones continue to grow, jellyfish populations could explode. If this scenario plays out, jellyfish may become one of the few remaining edible resources from the sea. This also according to Edible Monterey Bay. Over the last decade, Japan has seen unprecedented blooms of Nomura's jellyfish, the largest known cnidaria in the world, reaching staggering 450 pounds each. These giant jellyfish have been known to sink ships after the jellies became trapped in the boat's fishing nets. The recurrent blooms have become such a concern that Japan is encouraging chefs to find new and creative recipes for preparing jellyfish. Interesting breakthroughs include a caramel candy made from dried jellyfish powder and a jellyfish-derived ice cream that glows in the dark. The luminescence proteins in the ice cream react with the pH on your tongue, so the more you lick the ice cream, the brighter it gets. However, it costs $200 per scoop. Historically, jellyfish have been eaten in parts of China, Japan, and Southeast Asia. Although without exception, the bells of certain species are cleaned of their tentacles and membranes, then salted and dried. Once dried, the jellyfish are cut into thin noodle-like strands and then rehydrated before being tossed like rice noodles with soy sauce and rice vinegar. The strips of reconstituted jellyfish have an interesting texture, but no discernible flavor other than salt. Jellyfish are currently the third largest fishery in the state of Georgia. The year 2013 was one of the worst in shrimping history off the Georgia coast, and many boats have shifted their focus to jelly balls. A good day of jelly balling can bring in upwards of $10,000, making it far more lucrative than shrimping. Wow, shits, wow. Commercial plants in Georgia are able to process more than 5 million pounds of jellyfish per week. The entire catch is exported to Asia. While the local species of cannonball jellyfish is not considered the highest grade jellyfish available, it is generally well regarded. Over the last decade, the jellyfish blooms along the Gulf Coast have gone from being an impediment to an economic windfall for a struggling fishing industry. However, seconds after the jellyfish are removed from seawater and exposed to the air, they begin to dissolve. From a nutritional standpoint, jellyfish is composed of 90% water and 4 to 5% protein. Its structure is comprised mostly of collagen, and jellyfish are very low in calories. 4 ounces of jellyfish contain just 30 calories, no fat, 120 milligrams of sodium, and 8 grams of protein. In Asia, eating jellyfish is thought to be good for treating blood pressure, arthritis, and bronchitis, as well as preventing cancer. That may seem far-fetched, but Auburn University does hold a patent on an arthritis treatment derived from jellyfish collagen. There are also some species of jellyfish known as immortal jellyfish that have the ability to revert back to their juvenile polyp state when faced with death or injury. The jellies are able to regenerate their cells and begin the life cycle over. While they are still susceptible to death, this odd trait has intrigued scientists and teased at the prospects for finding a key to eternal life. Summer fruits can be preserved in many different ways, but what could be more fun than making soda? Creating your own soda with fresh fruits reveals the most amazing colors and flavors that they have to offer. And when you make your own soda, you control the ingredients. Soda can make an ordinary summer day seem like a party. Soda has rightfully developed a very bad reputation, according to also Edible Monterey Bay and ediblemontereybay.com. But if we dig a little into its history, we discover that it has very honorable and authentic roots. Soda began with natural mineral springs, which humans have long visited for the health benefits they are believed to provide. I just read a book about Stanford, Leland Stanford, who created Stanford University and made millions and millions and millions of dollars off of building, the train tracks into California. And when he was feeling sick, he would go to the mineral baths, natural mineral springs in Europe. Spent a lot of time there. Some of these healing waters have naturally occurring bubbles, and our love for carbonated beverages originates from them. Scientists eventually discovered that carbon dioxide was behind the bubbles in natural mineral waters, and in 1767, the first drinkable man-made glass of carbonated water was created. Drinking natural or artificial mineral waters was considered a healthy practice. Pharmacists were the original dispensers of mineral waters, and they began adding medicinal herbs to heighten the beverage's beneficial properties. They added things like ginger, birch bark, dandelion, lemon, elderberry, and other fruit extracts. The early drugstores with their soda fountains became a popular part of American culture as they evolved into the central attraction in many American towns. Pharmacists were providing beverages that were part pharmacology and part refreshment. People began wanting to take some home with them, and thus the bottled soda industry was born. But it was at this time that soda began to greatly stray from its therapeutic path. The medicinal herbs and fruit extracts began to disappear from the beverages, and eventually unmentionables like high fructose corn syrup became the main ingredients. Few other items have stirred up as much health controversy as soda. Studies connect consumption of soda to such modern health epidemics as diabetes, heart attacks, strokes, obesity, kidney disease, and some cancers. Just ask the former New York Mayor Bloomberg about that. Now, healthy sodas can be easily produced at home by making a fresh, healthy syrup and combining it with sparkling water. If you have a home sparkling water maker that will carbonate filtered tap water, you can feel even better about the soda you create by reducing its carbon footprint by skipping the bottles in which commercially produced sparkling waters are delivered. The nonprofit Carbon Trust has given drinks made by one brand of home carbonator a carbon footprint rating that is 80% lower than some commercially produced sodas. As with anything you cook up at home, you'll have the freedom to experiment with fruits, spices, herbs, and sweeteners when you make your own sodas. There are different techniques for extracting the juices for syrups from berries, some stone fruits, and citrus, and you can find all these recipes at ediblemonterey.com. And if you make them, let me know how it goes at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. Oakland. All right, I had a conversation with a friend of mine about the East Bay. She lives over on the peninsula and has a she looks down over her nose at the East Bay and Oakland, as a lot of people from the peninsula and San Francisco do. But I love this article that I saved from 2 years ago. It was a special edition of the East Bay Express, and they actually focused this targeted it to the new students that were coming to the University of California, Berkeley, or the Cal students, the new Cal students that were coming in. And this article written by Robert Gammon is called "Don't Be Afraid of Oakland. Forget Your Preconceived Notions About the Town." And if I may, I would like to read it to you. Lots of students arrive at Cal with preconceived notions about Oakland. Hell, let's be honest, people are flat out scared of what locals call the town. Either students or their parents have read stories in the San Francisco Chronicle or watched TV news about how dangerous Oakland is. But don't believe it. Oakland is a fun, crazy, beautiful city. In fact, if you decide to live there, there's a good chance you'll stay a long time. Here's some pro tips. North Oakland is a great place to live, in part because it's really, really close to Berkeley. You can easily get to campus by walking, biking, or by taking an AC transit bus. Plus, many North Oakland neighborhoods have cheaper rents than Berkeley, and there's more housing to choose from. Lots more. But why limit yourself? There are great neighborhoods throughout Oakland, including Uptown, Downtown, Adams Point, Piedmont Avenue, Grand Lake, Fruitvale, Diamond, and Laurel. And believe us when we say there are lots more apartments available in Oakland than in Berkeley, where housing is excruciatingly difficult to find. But besides being easier to score a place to live, Oakland has a lot more fun things to do. It has better bars and nightclubs and a much more vibrant music scene. And once you've been here for a while,